got about 150 snaps. We treat it just like a game. We kicked off at noon, just like our first ball game. The weather was very nice for our players. I can assure you of that. I wish it had been a little bit more tepid for us, but I thought our effort and our urgency was much better than Saturday. Our guys came out and with a purpose, and that was fun to watch. Disappointing, we leave Saturday with no procedure issues, no self-inflicted penalties, as I say, and we come in here today, and I think we were offsides or lined up offsides or jumped offsides on defense multiple times. Had some procedure issues offensively, and those are things that just goes back to focus and goes back to focusing in, dialing in on what you got to do. We can't be a team with a bunch of self-inflicted issues. We had a year last year where we had 2 games of the 4 games we lost where we lost some major hidden yardage in penalties, and that's something we talked about when the scrimmage was over, and just keeping your composure in some situations. But the effort and urgency was better, and they really responded to that, which was fun to see. We got about 150 snaps each. We had 3 groups get about 50 snaps apiece, which was good. The coaches were off the field, and that's the best way we can simulate the game as far as those things are concerned. I think on the injury front, we're really about the same as we've been. The only guy I would add, Chavis Dawkins, Saturday, got a high ankle sprain, and it may be a week or 2. So that's the only guy long term that I would add to the list. Disappointing for him. He was having a really good camp. He's a very dependable player at receiver, but he is a core special teams guy for us. And that's really hurt. We need some young guys to step up. But, again, today I was very pleased with some of the intangible qualities we've got to have a good football team. And I think we continue in all 3 phases to make progress. And we'll watch the film this afternoon and tonight and have an off day tomorrow. So they've grinded through a pretty tough 3 or 4 days here for us, and I've been proud of that. So I'll open up for any questions.
Raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you, David.
Willow, we've heard a lot from offensive skill guys about the new up-tempo and all that. How is Donnell handling it as the point man of that up-tempo attack?
I think he's really developed to be our leader of our offensive line. I think that started in the summer, really, I guess I would say spring and bled into the summer. And I think he's doing a fantastic job of leading that group. And, sometimes I get a bad view because I see everybody. I don't know that we had any procedure issues with our first group offensively. But I see a couple of issues with throughout our entire team, and it's an issue for everybody. But I've been really pleased with how he has played.
How are his snaps?
We're very good. We hadn't had any issues. We had a short yardage period in this portion of today, and we had an issue. I don't know that it was an exchange issue or not with the quarterback and running back, but there was an issue we got to look at.
Go to the back of the room, Jay.
Coach, after this scrimmage, do you feel like this team is maybe ahead of schedule as far as grasping everything that you guys are installing as far as like new players and the transfers, or you feel like they're kind of where you expect them to be at this point?
Probably about where I expected. I think it's a little frustrating at times, especially with young players, as we continue to install. They're swimming a little bit. Well, we can't hold back our entire football team because of some young guys. We've got to be able to teach them as best we can, continue to rep them. Again, our guys have been very receptive, top to bottom, and that's what I like. And they're all coachable. They have a coach me coach attitude, and that's been very, very positive of what I've seen in camp so far. We got to continue to install. We got to we spent a lot of time the last 2 days on 1 minute situational field goal to win the game, a touchdown to win the game, and putting our kickers in stressful situations as well. So becoming a better situational team. I think our older guys are progressing that way because they're used to the installation and they're used to the situational things we do at practice. The young guys, they're not as worried about situations right now. They're just learning to line up, get their eyes in the right spots, and execute an assignment right now for a young player. But we understand that. And at the end of the day, we've got some talented young players that we've got to continue to bring on that can help our team this year.
Coach, how pleased have you been with, I know they can't hit the quarterbacks, but how pleased have you been with the 4-man rush and maybe affecting how the quarterback is getting to his spot and doing that?
Well, again, we're better than we were last year, and we've made some improvements. Obviously, having Bryce back helps. A guy that's got some edge presence. Danny Fennell's had a good camp. Brad Johnson's back healthy, and gave some good looks today. I think we've done a better job of getting a push inside, whether it's Javon or Kier. Shamik's a guy we're going to bump inside to get more speed on the field. So, those are, we're a work in progress, but we're better than we've been.
Coach, here in the back, one of the comments you made Saturday has garnered significant national media attention in regards to DJ Durkin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you've noticed any of the feedback and if you have any follow-up to saying that people are gutless, if they remain anonymous, or is it just more of an emotional reaction to defending a friend?
Well, I think, first of all, my thoughts and prayers are with the McNair family. I can't imagine, as a father, of losing my son or a son. It is a horrific situation, a tragic situation, and I don't know what else to say. I was talking about DJ Durkin, a man that I know very well, Saturday. I know him as a coach. I know him as a husband. I know him as a father. And I find it hard to believe some of the things that I read in that article about DJ Durkin. And I'll leave it at that.
Questions, Josh, in front.
Without watching the tape, did anybody jump out to you today as doing something well? Or several people?
I thought that Nick Harvey and Jemias Williams, both at safety, played better, and we needed them to improve. We really challenged those guys the other night. That was to me is pleasing because that's where we really needed to take some steps forward, Josh. I mean, we got to get better there. I think Stephen Montek's having a really good camp. J.C. Horn continues to play well at corner for us. Had a big knockdown against Debo on a deep ball that when you cover that guy, you're covering a really good football player. It's hard on the line of scrimmage to sometimes show, as far as where some guys are. Dylan Wanham continues to make some strides for a young player. Pleased with his athleticism, had a really nice pull in the power play today. I thought Josh Vann, for a young receiver, a guy we really challenged because Chevis is maybe out a week or two, and a guy that we need to continue to come on, caught the ball well. And Shy continues to have a good camp. Brian Edwards made a one-handed catch in the back of the end zone with under pretty good coverage. So I was pleased with that. I think our running backs are all, is what I said before we went into training camps, competition. It's been fun to watch those guys compete and get after it. So a tight end position, I think Kiel Pollard's had a really good camp. I saw him make some plays today. So again, I just think that the more productive players that you have, the more competition it creates and the more consistency in their performance it promotes on your football team. And that's what we're benefiting from, and we've got to get that more at all positions. Yeah, he got cleared. But today was his first day being cleared. But he's been out there with a yellow jersey. I asked him one time, why are you in a yellow jersey? Because you have contact every day. And he started laughing. So he's from Tucker High School. They're tough from Tucker, I can tell you that.
Will, when Debo when Debo went down last year from that point to the end of the season, how much do you think that helped expedite the growth process of Brian Edwards, and where do you think going forward that'll take his game?
Well, one man's misfortune's another man's opportunity, and Brian seized it and ran with it. And he's a really good football player. He's a great person. One of the first day on the job, went to see he and T.J. Brunson. That's paid a lot of dividends for University of South Carolina. But it also helped Shy and Ortray. Shy and Ortray were guys that had to their role elevated when Debo went down. So I think that those guys stepped into that spotlight and played extremely well considering the age that they were at, two true freshmen, and Brian as well of assuming that role. So I feel really good about right now, those guys, those four guys. And the biggest thing that you talk in terms of receiver, you got to win in man coverage. So there's going to be a 3rd and 6 in the game, and they're going to play bump and run. You got to be able to win and get open in man coverage because the windows are tight in our league, and those four guys can.
Will, with 3 or 4 tight ends that can all give you something, do you guys start to look a little more maybe 2 tight end and that possibility?
Yes, and I think that's something that we've continued to. KC's a guy and Kiel's a guy that all can play in the C area, and they also can play in the slot. And they're a difficult when they're in the game, including Jacob August and Kyle Markway's having a really good camp. So you're sitting there as a defensive coordinator. Are they going to be creating 2-3 man surfaces in the run game? And then all of a sudden they're in 4 open receivers, and you've got a linebacker, which happened to us today defensively. We were in a man covered situation. They open up the set, and we got a bad matchup. So there's some things that we're able to create formationally that help you when you have those kind of guys.
You mentioned Nick working some at safety. How much balance is he doing between safety and corner? What do you see him kind of able to bring at that position?
Well, the last 2 days, Saturday, I would say 3 days, excuse me, we've really just wanted him to stay at the safety position and learn the position, and he's an extremely bright young man. So that's not been an issue. He learns well. He's playing nickel as well, so he can do a lot of things for us. We're hoping that JT eBay is going to be cleared for individual and some skeleton activities on Wednesday, and we need to get him out there and get him up to speed as far as getting ready to play this year.
I think you said earlier, Shamik's sliding some inside. Is that a full-time thing or just
No, we
situational?
kind of like we do with Kier. Place them in and place them inside. We want to get more speed on the field, especially in pass rush and 1 minute third down situations. And he's done a nice job inside. He's a guy that he's up to over 270. He can push the pocket in the middle. So we're going to give him an opportunity to do that.
As far as the up-tempo offense, what do you do differently philosophically, and how hard is it? Because you guys have basically not necessarily been the highest time possession team in your time previously. And do you do anything differently? Do you coach differently on defense in order to make sure that you protect against possible drives that are short in time as far as that goes?
Well, that's part of it. That's the risk reward that you go through, and I think obviously a hurry up tempo offense is great when you're getting first downs. It's not so much fun when you're not. But that's part of managing the game, and you get into a game situation and how the game's being played out, and that's a constant conversation that you have within your staff as far as how we're going to manage if we're not getting first downs and those things. I think where it's changed us as much as anything is practice, because we're getting a lot more reps than we've ever gotten. And you got to be mindful of that. We have the catapult system, which we're monitoring our players' mileage. We're monitoring their, hard exerting efforts. So those are things that I'm spending a lot more time with Clint Haggard at practice talking about where we are on the catapult system as far as the number of miles our guys are traveling, the yardage and the different things, because that's where you can't wear down your football team and create some issues for yourself as far as injuries and those things are concerned. So we've changed some things a little bit how we practice. We'll have tempo periods of practice where we try and dictate the tempo offensively, whether we're playing fast or we're on the ball. But then we're going to have teaching part of practices where we've done before where I think it's important for the players to get taught between plays.
Coach, with the experience you guys have returning at corner with Rashad and Keeson and then Nick working some there, how comfortable are you with running man-to-man coverage there, and how does that help with, I guess, the RPOs that a lot of teams are running against y'all?
Well, that's an answer to the RPOs is man coverage. You're going to create a bad box, which means normally you're going to create a throw, which means you better win on your matchup. And so, Rashad's been a really good man cover guy. Keyshawn's done a nice job for us. Nick's certainly capable, and J.C. Horn to this point has been a guy that I've been excited about some of the things I've seen. Israel continues to come on, is going to end up helping us. So again, I'm pleased with what we've got at the position.
Go way back, Mike.
Coach, I know on Saturday you talked about consistency at the safety position. When you've gone back and broke down the film, when you're doing your plus minuses, is it more of a technique or is it more about the effort when you're going back and trying to see that consistency improve?
Probably a mixture of both from a standpoint of a lot. It's frustrating as a coach, but more frustrating for a player because when he's not totally sure what he's doing, he's not going to play as fast. And that's a little bit of the issue we have. And I've told the players that, just the effort's on you, the execution, the scheme right now is on me. Just play fast. And to get guys to learn how to do that, and I think that Nick and Jemias both have been guys that have been a little guilty of not sure what to do, and you kind of hold back a little bit. You can't do that, and I've told them that. And we're going to continue to coach you hard, and just the more reps and turns you get, the game's going to start slowing down for you. Both of those guys from Sunday's practice, and then today, I was very pleased without watching the film from today. With what I've seen, that we've made some positive strides.
So you've seen that improvement, though, in just the speed they're starting on to.
The speed of the game, and a lot of it has effect of what we're doing on offense. You can't walk to get aligned. If you walk to get aligned, they're going to snap and you're not going to be in position to do what your job is. And when fatigue sets in a little bit, as it makes cowards of us all, they don't get lined up, they don't get their cleats in the dirt, they don't get their eyes in the right spot, and all of a sudden Brian Edwards is running right by you. And that happens. And so that's something that's been a benefit for us, and I won't have as much angst as a defensive coach going into a game playing a tempo team. Our guys should be more accustomed to seeing it.
Well, when it comes to your kickers, would it be a consideration to maybe have one do the 50 yards or 45 yards and one to do the shorter, or would you want one guy to do everything?
I just want somebody to make it. That's kind of the point. But I think we have a very good competition between Parker and Shane and Alex, and we'll continue that moving forward. We had some pressure kicks today, which we made all of them but one, and so that was positive.
Brenda Tracy tweeted out that she's going to be talking to your team tonight, I guess. How did that kind of come together, and sort of how important is that to have that sort of element and influence in this program?
Well, in training camp, we have every night a speaker, whether it's someone from Columbia, someone from campus, a motivational speaker, to talk to our players about life, and how you're supposed to lead your life. And her story is, I've never met her personally, I've never talked to her, but I wanted her, obviously saw her story and wanted her to bring in and share her story with our players. And I think that's important, and treating women with respect is very important. And our guys need to hear her story, and I look forward to hearing her tonight at 6:30.
Coach, you mentioned wanting to see more competition at other positions. Is there anything that you and the other coaches can do to help spur that? And then what do you look for in the scrimmages that let you know, okay, these guys are a little closer, or maybe there's some separation at this spot?
Well, I think as far as seeing where a player is, the scrimmage, the coaches are off, and you want to see his production. How does he play? Is he a productive football player for you? Does he play our style? And so that's really easy to see once you turn the tape on, because the tape doesn't lie. It tells you exactly what you want to see. And what was your first question?
Just what you and other coaches can do to help create some competition.
Well, again, I think that, having recruiting really well and having a bunch of good players at a position, that promotes it as best you can. And I think guys are realistic when they know that there's one or two guys at their position that they can overtake their job. It creates urgency, and that's really what you want on your football team.
Have you had to adjust your schedule because of the concert next week?
No. No, I can't be. We can't be in the stadium on Saturday. That's the only thing that we've had to change, and that's fine.
Do your guys get to meet them at all? Is that part of the deal? Did you get to sign off on?
Coach Tanner negotiated that contract. I didn't have a whole lot to do with it, but we certainly are really excited.
Do you guys have all the necessary paperwork in for Josh and Jamel, or do you still have some I's to dot and T's to cross before y'all can?
Chance Mill in our compliance office does all of that. I don't have, they just tell me yes or no, and there's no timetable with the NCAA on that. They make their decision when they feel like they've got all the information. To my knowledge, Hale, we have all the information in, to my knowledge, but other than that, I don't know.
Relating to speed and agility, explosiveness, where do you see Debo now compared to where he was prior to his injury? Is he about the same level, a little better, a little worse?
Well, no, I think he looks good to me. He looks fast. He looks fresh. He's about the same weight I think he was last year. And he looks powerful. He had a couple really nice runs after catch today. Ran through some tackles. But I think he looks very explosive in my opinion watching him. He made a couple really nice catches today. So I think he looks really good. Looking at the catapult numbers, his numbers are very similar to what they were at this time last year. So he looks very good to me.
Coach, talked about the improvement progression of your offensive line. Are they as physical as you want them to be at this point? I guess what are you seeing from that group?
Well, I think we've got more ability to have push inside between Zach, Sedarius, and Donnell. Those three guys have been at time, and I think Javon Kinlaw and Kier Thomas and Kobe Smith are all guys that are SEC defensive tackles, and we're getting good movement at times. Blake's had a good camp, and pleased with that. And Dennis Daly's, Malik Young continues to play well. So I've been pleased with their progress. And we've got to get more guys and finding who that number 7, that number 8, that number 9. We need to continue to bring that along, and we're going to have to, make sure that our young guys on both lines of scrimmage get developed as we move through this season.
Coach, without going back and watching the film, do you feel like the guys in the defensive line, because I talked to Wanham at SEC Media Days, being able to have confidence in the guys in the secondary, especially as you guys develop that safety position, how important it is to be able to play in the scheme, do your 1/11th, so you're not trying to do too much to kind of screw yourself up defensively?
Well, again, those guys need to do their job. At the end of the day, we've got a motto in our program, and it's do your job. Take care of what you need to do. Play with a type of effort, toughness, and discipline. Have a team-first mentality, and know you got to compete every snap. And if our guys will do that, none of those things take ability. We've recruited good enough players, we'll be fine. And they just need to do their job.
When Eric and Walford and those guys say they want 5.5 yards per carry, that is, y'all don't factor sack yardage into that like the NCAA does, right?
A pass is a pass. So if a quarterback scrambles for 80 yards off of a pass play, that has no indication of what kind of run defense you have or run offense you have. So a pass is a pass, a run is a run.
5.5, does that sound realistic to you for this run game?
No, I think that, I would be interested to go back and look at camp, where we are as far as average per carry. I don't know that we're probably right at 5, thinking back to scrimmages from Saturday and from today. But I think we've done some nice things in the run game. The RPOs have helped, and they really stress you defensively, especially playing zone. Really create some issues for you. But, I think we have good backs that run hard. And I think, you take that first unit on the offensive line, they've done a nice job getting a hat on a hat.
So based on some of the numbers, you guys have had a pass defense that it seems like places a big emphasis on big play prevention and sort of forcing teams to matriculate down the field if they're going to do it. Is that a core tenet and a goal that in this defense you want to have, or is that maybe just a reflection of the talent, maybe some of the depth issues in the secondary more than anything, and something that you would perhaps recruit out of eventually?
Well, I think the two most critical factors in winning and losing a football game, number one is the ball, is creating turnovers, which we did the best than anybody in our league last year, protecting the ball on offense. And the second thing is explosive plays, a 10-yard or more run, a 20-yard or more pass. That affects field position. It affects momentum of the game. And we talk to our guys all the time about those two factors being the most critical factors in winning and losing football games. So number one part of our defense is we don't want to give up explosive plays. I would say with that, we need to do a better job on third down, especially in the intermediate 3rd and 3 to 6, 3 to 7 downs, and getting off the field. And a lot of that goes back to man coverage because you got to play deny the ball defense. I'm not saying you can't play zone, but primarily philosophically, we believe in playing more man in those situations. Third down, to me, I'm not talking in terms of pass defense, was our issue last year. We didn't get off the field frequently enough to stop drives, to eliminate a team being able to flip the field on us. We played really good in the red zone, and we did a really good job of getting turnovers. So, I guess I don't know if I'm answering your question. I just don't, we don't want explosive plays, and we need to play more. We need to play better on third down, especially in the intermediate down and distances.
Who would you say is best on the team in getting yards after contact, and what have you seen from your whole skill position?
Well, I think we have several guys. Debo's got a big lower body. He's a hard guy to tackle. You saw him running through contact today on the perimeter. Rico's been a guy that's gotten a lot of positive yards. Tyson had a big run today in a short yardage that split for about 60. I mean, it was a big-time run on a 3rd and 1 situation. We really put an emphasis on the red zone offensively. We've spent a lot of time there, obviously 1 minute the last couple of days, but we had a whole period today just dedicated to short yardage and getting better and running the ball and executing better in short yardage situations. Tyson's done a nice job. I've been very pleased with our backs. I mean, those guys are all playing well and competing, and they all want to play.
I know several of you guys have talked about how you're comfortable with 1, 2, 3 defensive tackles right now. Have 4, 5, 6 started to differentiate themselves a little bit to where y'all are a little bit more comfortable there?
Well, I think that, again, Jabari and Rick just need a bunch of snaps. They for the game to continue to slow down. Both guys are giving us great effort. They got to just continue to get snaps. JJ continues to make progress. You know, Kobe's a guy that we've been very pleased with, and Shamik is a guy that we're going to look at as another guy inside that can do some things for us. So, again, I think that, you know, we just continue to bring those guys along. Have they improved? Absolutely. They've improved a lot. And we got to continue to improve before September 1st. I do know that. So we made strides, sure, but we're not where we need to be. Been solid. Griffin Gentry's done some nice things at end. So we just got those guys got to keep coming for us.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thanks.
Thanks,